I'll just welcome everybody here. My name is Carl Savoy. I am the director of the Santa Fe College Innovative Product Development Center, and I work with Elena Rexroad, and she's our program manager. And the Santa Fe IPDC is here to help early stage companies or even any startup company get to the next level. What we really do in a nutshell is we work with companies to develop products, help you develop a business plan and a strategy, raise investment, and get your products to market. We currently support about 55 startup companies, and we also have about 60 partners that provide services to the companies, the startup companies, when they need it. We are supported through a grant, so the price is right. Elena's time and my time are free to entrepreneurs. We can help you wherever you are. Even if you come in with a napkin sketch, we're here to help you. So we're available online on our website. You can contact us anytime during this presentation with a text or anything else. We'd love to hear from you. With that, I'd like to thank Jim Bowie from the Innovate for another great webinar that he's going to present on. He's done this, I think three times now, Jim.
Close to it, yeah.
Every time it's very entertaining. He has a wealth of experience in many areas with entrepreneurship, with having his own companies, as well as running the Innovate program over there at Innovate, UF Innovate. So Jim, we really appreciate you doing another webinar. It's always a lot of fun, and CRM is something that we really haven't talked about or had a webinar on in the past. So this is a brand new subject, and we're all excited to hear about it. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you, Carl. Let's see, Joni, what do you do? I don't know what some of you do.
I am the graphic designer and web editor for the Blount Center and the SEED, Community Education and Continuing Education.
Cool.
And IPDC.
And Coach Rhonda.
Hey, how are you?
Hi.
It's actually Coach Black, but that's fine. Yeah, you probably already know what I do. I'm a business consultant. I do a lot of like workshops and seminars, not so much now, on like productivity and effectiveness and stuff like that. And recently, about 6 months ago, because of COVID, I started a little business, Aloe Kitty. So it's a lot of aloe products and hand sanitizers and healthy stuff like that.
Super. Bill, tell everybody what you do.
I am the director of GTech, the business incubator owned by the city, managed by Santa Fe College. And I'm also the entrepreneur in residence for the SEED, the Center for Innovation and Economic Development, which is currently housed at UF Innovate, the hub. And we are very thankful that the hub has allowed us to take space there while we build out our new building, which is coming along.
Great. You have some great companies here. I'm really happy to have you here. David Nessel, tell us.
I'm a private sector startup consultant and sometimes startup doer myself, mostly focusing in healthcare IT. I've got a couple startups that are actually got products rolled out to several dozen customers, and we're ramping up from there.
Right. Mr. Ghani. You can unmute.
Hello, good morning again. Yeah, hello, good morning again. This is Obaidul Ghani. I've been in the industry for 20-some years. First 4 or 5 years in US automotive industry in Detroit, Michigan area, then moved to healthcare biologics industry since 2006, last 15 years. Abbott Healthcare in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Then moved to Gainesville about 6 years ago. I do live in Gainesville. Worked for In Vivo Philips MRI diagnostic imaging 3-some years. Then with RTA Surgical, spent 2 years with their global operational excellence program, supply chain operations, manufacturing process optimization. Right after the sale, I moved to Lacerta Therapeutics, startup company, until lately as the director of operations and manufacturing. So a lot of work with the internal business consulting. Now I'm trying to launching my this year also started my own consulting, Civex consulting process optimization with the Lacerta and RTI with a smaller size, and Lacerta Therapeutics lots of insight about the startup, the biotech incubator, and the Gainesville area. So looking forward to work with the any companies got this opportunity to work. So that's pretty much briefly my background. I took some time near to the community, I guess, so I want to introduce myself. Thank you.
Thank you. Bob, you're focusing on something. Tell us what you do.
I have a small farm business. I farm reptiles, grow a few cold hardy palm trees. We produce rodents, and also looking to extend out into some new dry goods, which is why I'm here with the IPDC.
Super, thank you. Cody, can you tell us what you do?
Yeah. Hey, everyone. I work with Joe with Alpha Creative, making sure that you all are able to meet every week. We do a couple different groups, including the Rotary of Gainesville. Yeah, just freelance, helping them out in this time.
Thank you. And last but not least, David.
Yes, hello, everyone. I'm here in my capacity of a business development consultant for Vertion, who is hosted in your facility. I was invited here by Eureka, and we are interested in this HubSpot. We are implementing that now to be able to reach out to new audience for our offering of risk mitigation software. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, David. What city do you live in? I forgot.
I live in Boston myself.
In Boston. Okay, mm-hmm. Great. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Let's see, a couple of things before I start sharing. By a show of hands, who is using a CRM system now? Who actually uses one now? Okay. And next show of hands, who is looking to either change or start using one? Anybody want to change or start using one? Okay, good. So that's good. We have some good stuff. Let's see if my technical skills will work. It says host disabled participant screen sharing. So the host needs to let me share my screen again.
I just made you a co-host. I forgot you logged out. Give it another shot. There it is.
Are we there?
Yep.
All right, good. Can everybody still see me as well? Okay, good. CRM, love it, hate it, use it. Just to get this out of the way again, I was not a member of the Remember the Titans football team at my high school in Alexandria, Virginia. Coach Yost, the assistant coach, was my PE teacher for 4 years, and I knew most all the players. I was in the band, so it was pretty cool that they made a movie about my high school. I went to become a Horned Frog in Fort Worth, Texas for TCU, Texas Christian. Stayed there for my MBA as well, and still love the frogs. Then I switched to bugs. I went up the corporate ladder to work at an exterminating company, eventually became national sales manager, and they moved me to Atlanta from Dallas, Fort Worth. And then a few ended up leaving, starting my own business. Harvey Massey and I worked together, and he started his business down in Orlando. I started mine in Atlanta, and I was successful. We sold it back to Orkin with 25 employees, so we did good. Harvey's obviously done a lot better at Massey Services, and real proud of him. I passed up on $1 gazillion, and people ask me all the time to see this, so I finally brought one in. I don't know if you can see the toothbrush. I guess I have to put it in front of me. Well, there we go. The inventor of a rotary toothbrush came to me to say, I'll sell you the rights. He had patented a rotary toothbrush, and I turned it down. And of course, Oral-B just made $1 gazillion off of it. But this was my toothbrush company back then. It was a two-headed toothbrush. It brushed the inside of your teeth, same time it brushed the outside of your teeth. So took this public on the NASDAQ, and Johnson & Johnson eventually bought this. So that was my toothbrush world. I'm 6 generations down from Jim Bowie, the Alamo fame. So if you ever want to talk about that history, we can. All right, get into it. CRM. This is our agenda. Why do you need a CRM? Why the love-hate relationship? What are the strengths and weaknesses? Some of the more popular plans, what's right for your business, and integrating your CRM with other modules. And then we'd like to hear from you guys about what your experiences have been. There's only one real reason why you need a CRM, and that's your customer value. How valuable do you see your clients? You know, the customer lifetime value is the key performance indicator when looking at any customer engagement and revenue trends. It's the most important stat, and it's directly linked to profitability. You find companies that are successful bring in new customers and they retain them and they sell them more business because as we all know, the customer acquisition cost is high, and customer churn rate can really kill a business, meaning you're turning over customers way too often. So your profitable customers are the ones that stay with you for a long time, and a CRM certainly goes a long ways to ensuring customer satisfaction. Just some reminders. It's one of the most important business processes you can have. Ties your customer touches into one organized platform. It integrates with your other modules. We'll talk about that a little bit later. They're all in the cloud and deployed on mobile devices now. They didn't used to be, but they are now. So you can access them from just about anywhere on any mobile device. Makes for happier customers. We are creatures of habits and routines, and if we get into the habits and routines of using a CRM, it really impacts the customers. Reduces turnover with your employees, and it's an easier transition when you either promote people or lose someone. We're going to talk about each of these functionalities, not in detail, but we'll get to some of these later as to why do you buy a CRM system. I want to show you a video that one of the companies uses to promote CRM service. It's called Pipedrive. They all have one. I just happen to like this one, and it was less than 2 minutes, so I chose this one. Hopefully you can hear it okay.
No matter how much experience you have selling your product, Pipedrive will make it easier, bringing you better, more engaged leads 24/7, so you can focus on the right people at the right time and convert them to deals in your sales pipelines. And that's where the real magic happens. You can start simple or customize your pipelines in stages to visualize your process, no matter how many steps it takes to close that deal. Because Pipedrive's...
Oh, sorry. I was admitting somebody into the...
No matter how much and unusually easy to use. No, seriously, we're kind of famous for it. Every call and email are automatically tracked, giving you a transparent view into the past and future of every sale. And you can say goodbye to repetitive tasks like sending routine follow-up emails. Workflow automation can do it all, which frees up your time to gather insights into your business and measure performance against set goals. And don't you worry, Pipedrive will help you every step of the way with award-winning customer support, educational videos, and a whole community of salespeople and marketers you can learn from and grow with. Because Pipedrive was built by actual salespeople, which means it wasn't just built to manage your sales, it was built for you, the salespeople and marketers pivotal to any business. Pipedrive, designed to keep you selling.
All right. So now, why do I love a CRM system? It's a central repository for all of your information for customers, so you're not duplicating. Does anybody remember a business 15, 20 years ago when you had to type in all the customer information into your Excel spreadsheet, and then you had to go to your QuickBooks, and then you had to type all the same information, then you had to go to your quote system and type all the information. And the world has changed a lot, and it really has, more than anything, reduced duplication of a lot of time and data entry. Interaction tracking from prospects, proposals, customers, calendars. Workflow automation. You're so much more efficient. You're repetitive, which reduces errors and omissions. It helps reduce some of the human element of making mistakes. Marketing and sales, you can do campaigns, you can do website conversions. I'm sorry, just so everybody is speaking the same language, when I talk about a website conversion, that's when somebody is browsing your website and you want to convert them to a prospect and then eventually to a customer. So they have certain modules that really help in that. And also sales and revenue forecasting. Customer service, you can manage trouble tickets, you can get customer feedback, you can do chats, just a lot of different features. Reporting and analytics, so you get all the graphs, the dashboards, the metrics, pipeline analysis, a sales funnel. You know, it's a sales funnel on steroids that helps manage your growth as you scale the business. Why do you hate a CRM? Well, it takes time to update and enter data. Yep, you got to sit and you got to enter the data. As we've all heard, the output's only as good as the input. So you got to enter accurate information on a timely basis. All right, 8 out of 10 of us are lazy. We hate to write things down, but by God, this forces us to write things down and keep track of stuff. So I'm one of those. Unfortunately, I'm not as detailed as I should be, but this really forces me to do it. Even though I don't like it, you got to do it. Love-hate relationship. Other people can see what your activity is. Aha, we're opening up the Pandora's box to say, hey, how many clients did you talk to today? How many proposals did you put out today? So your activity is viewed by your peers and your superiors. It holds us accountable. Everybody needs a boss. Everybody needs some structure. And this really does help us to be accountable to ourselves. It identifies your weaknesses and say, okay, maybe the reason why my sales and revenue is low is because I only put out 1 proposal last week. Or gee, maybe my sales are low. I put out 10 proposals, but only had one close. So maybe there's something I'm doing that's not right in the closing ratio. So it can identify weaknesses. It can get expensive. It depends on what CRM systems you select and how much you want to tie to it. You just have to watch that. Okay, another video. Everybody that has ever used a CRM system will relate to this video.
I can't talk now, okay? I'm working. All right, bye. All right, you were saying?
He's needy. Every day it's, what did you do? Who did you talk to? Who did you email?
And CRM?
Doc, this is a partnership. I can't provide my 360-degree view if she doesn't share her daily activities. It's about being transparent. Who's it?
Somebody.
Who's Jordan Allen?
He's a prospect. We're talking.
Why do not know about him?
We're talking.
If CRM don't know about it, it don't exist.
Fine. Then he doesn't exist.
See, Doc, that's what I'm talking about. Disrespectful. Don't appreciate organization.
Doc, I'm great at selling.
She at the top.
But I need some space so I can do it my way.
Your way? Pen and post-it notes?
My system worked.
Spreadsheets?
Yeah, privacy.
If CRM don't know about it,
then it don't exist.
I sound like that.
Yes. I'm only with you because I'm forced to be.
Okay. Time's up.
What? But what are we supposed to do?
Use Sales Mesh. Okay? Next.
And boy, we all feel that way. A love-hate relationship with CRM. And it's funny because Sales Mesh, I couldn't find anything on that CRM system. So I guess they're still not in business, but they did a great video 5 years ago. So that was great. What are some of the other weaknesses of CRM systems? Well, the setup and the monthly cost can be an issue. Can you get your team to really use it? That's always a challenge if you have a team rather than just yourself or you and one other. Training and the learning curve to use it. Some are easy and some take a little more in-depth training to use it effectively. Tech support access. Sometimes we're not always as techy as we should be, and what is the tech support like with the CRM software? The ease and the cost to add features and modules later as you grow, and the ability to migrate to another platform. A company my son works for that used to be in my incubator up in Georgia, they started out with Zoho, and after 3 years they said, okay, it just doesn't have the firepower that we need, and they migrated to Microsoft Dynamics back then. They've eventually gone to Salesforce, but they had to make sure that the migration was smooth. What are the top CRM strengths and features? This company did a survey to find out what are the real main 4 features that people buy CRM systems for. And it's for the workflow automation, so everything's automated as you take somebody through the sales funnel. Contact and interaction tracking with prospects and existing customers. Scheduling and reminders. And sales funnel management, managing what proposals are going out and what your closing ratios and forecasting revenue. So those are the 4 main buckets of reasons why people buy it. It's kind of like your cell phone. I have a smartphone so I can talk on the phone, so I can do texts, and so I can go to the internet and check emails. Oh, by the way, yes, it also is a camera, and yes, it's also a flashlight. It has all these other reasons that are really nice, but there are main functions that I buy a smartphone for, and just like you do a CRM. Okay, which one? There's over 100 to choose from, so hard to narrow down sometimes what's going to be best. So this is what you need to answer yourself. What features are you really going to use? What's the easiest to implement and use? Your budget, do you want to spend $0? Do you want to spend $10 a month? Do you want to spend $100 a month? You want to spend $500 a month and do a lot of different integrations? You have to decide. Are you going to add people and modules, and when? Yeah, maybe I want to start out with a smaller, just to get used to the systems and all that, but then I want to add modules a year from now, and I want to add another salesperson or 2. So you have to plan for that. Is tech support very important? Are you a little bit techie, or is their support really good? Some of them are super support, and some of them are tutorials. We'll talk about that in a minute. Can you migrate to another platform easily? So I picked my top dozen. I have not used all of these personally, but I know people that have used the vast majority of them. And of course, I'll be able to share this presentation with you, so you'll be able to go to the links and you'll be able to look at some of the pros and cons. But these are 3 very popular ones that we're going to talk about a little bit more in depth. SharpSpring, I am not going to talk about more in depth, since that's a local company here in Gainesville, very successful. They tend to be more than just a CRM system. They're really a marketing platform where you're a business that relies heavily on websites and converting browsers to prospects to customers, and they also work through agencies quite a bit. you can retain their services direct, but they work with a lot of marketing agencies, digital media companies around the US that in turn provide the services to their clients. We're going to talk about Monday.com. Sugar CRM is another good one. It's a little bit on the pricier side. I couldn't get a pinned down price for a startup, but it was in that $50 a month range. Freshworks we'll talk about. Thrive, I could not find very much information on Thrive, but they had a very good customer satisfaction rating. And I could not, again, they had to custom quote for up to 3 people, and they don't show on their website their entry-level price. We're going to talk about Copper. Free agent CRM looked pretty good. It was $25 a person. But again, that one, I don't know anybody that's used. I love this one. I've been talking about this one for 5 years. You don't need a CRM.com or the abbreviated nocrm.io. And they're only $12 a month. And it's the basics. If you want something that is easy to use, that is entry level, that's a real good one. And then the other fun one is lessannoyingcrm.com. They must have seen the video or something to name their company, but for only $15 a month, you get the full version with all the bells and whistles. So that's pretty cool. So 2 of the most popular with tens of thousands of users are HubSpot. They have a free version, so you're more than welcome to sign up with HubSpot. Use the free version. Now, as a client of our incubator, we're a HubSpot partner, so they give scholarships to our clients. And so their regular price is $50 a person per seat per month, but they give a 90% discount for the first year for early stage businesses. So some of my companies go ahead and pay the $5 a month. You just have to keep in mind, hold on a minute, that year 2, you go up to $25, and year 3, you go to full price. So they only discount it for the first couple of years. Again, they have a free version that you can use forever with all the good basic features. They have very good integration with G Suite and Microsoft Office. So if you're a Google person, works out great. The one downside that I saw in several of the comments were that can't customize and you have to pay for added features. Zoho is one I've used personally for a couple of companies that I worked for in the past 15 years. Free for up to 3 users. It was hard to beat free with social media and Google integration. There was no email tracking or mass emailing in the free version. It's still a lower cost at only $12 to upgrade to the standard version and $35 a person for the enterprise. So that's a good option. Excuse me. Freshworks is the name of the company. Fresh Sales is the name of the CRM system. Just as a little side note, you have to sign up for the trial to get the free version. And the free version is up to 10 users. So that's pretty good. Includes 24/5 free support via phone, email, and chat. I thought that was real good that you could actually pick up the phone and actually talk to somebody to get support if you needed it. Upgrades with more features range from only $12 a month to $79 per user. They had like 5 different levels based on what additional services you wanted to use. Copper is one of the better ones. I have several people that love copper.com. It was built for Google. So if you are a big Google user with Gmail and all the Google apps, Google Plus, et cetera, it integrates seamlessly and it pulls a lot of good information. Some of the negative comments on the website were some of the features were not as intuitive or user-friendly. These are the other 4 I want to talk about. Pipedrive is only $15 a month, and that's one of the better. that had one of the highest customer satisfaction ratings by all the users. Easy, and it integrates with many third-party apps. And tech, that was the one negative they showed, was that tech support can be tough at times. There's a service called Monday.com. Now, again, I've never used this, but it has very high ratings amongst its users. The charge is $24 a month. You can have 1, 2, or 3 users for the $24 a month. The people said it was intuitive, simple to set up and use. It's good for project management integration that's built into this for that price, so that if you do a lot of projects, you can actually do the project management. A little more expensive with the added features when you go to the next couple levels. You go up to that $50 and $75 range. This is the one that I have had experience with for the past 5 years for some of my clients. You don't need a CRM.com. Salespeople like it because it's a simpler. It's a very simple solution. It syncs with G Suite apps, and tech support is mostly tutorials. Even though people said that it wasn't a big issue, you can't really talk or chat with anybody, and most of the support was just tutorials and online message boards. Less annoying CRM. Amazing that the full version is $15 a month. People said that it was easier to use than Zoho. It was very user-friendly design. It had good support. It was more like your first step up from Contact Manager. I don't know if anybody ever used to use Contact Manager in Outlook, which was the first kind of system 10, 15 years ago when you put everybody into your Outlook, and then you started to use some of the features with the reminders and the calendars. That was called Contact Manager. I don't hear about that much anymore. All right. If you're a big company, then this is what the big boys use. ACT CRM's been around a while. Goldmine, Microsoft Dynamics. We use that at UCF. NetSuite, Nimble, Oracle, Pega, SAP, Sage, and of course Salesforce is the elephant in the room. Salesforce has been the most successful CRM system for large businesses for a long time. And we use Salesforce in several different ways. But again, if you're a big company, have a larger budget, then you may want to consider one of those. Getting down toward the end, integrate with other modules. You may want to consider a proposal, a quote generator app. PandaDocs is an example of one that you may want to integrate, so that, again, you don't have to retype all your customer prospect information. You can create quotes and create proposals straight from PandaDocs being connected to your CRM. Service order generators. If you're a service company, you need to generate a ticket to have a service performed. Inventory and asset tracking, companies like Fishbowl and Upkeep. If you need to track anything from computers to vehicles to any kind of pieces of equipment. Accounting and invoicing, of course, QuickBooks, all of them connect to QuickBooks, and that's a blessing. Payment and e-commerce. So Fat Merchant's one of my successful clients out of the Orlando UCF incubator, that if you need a credit card processing, they're very reasonable, and they're now up to over 100 employees in just 6 years, so they're doing great. And of course, e-commerce like Shopify. Project management like Microsoft Project. Marketing automation, like I mentioned, SharpSpring and HubSpot does a lot in doing driving marketing leads into converting them into customers. Feedback events. You can connect your CRM to SurveyMonkey, to event providers like Eventbrite. You can do campaigns like Constant Contact and MailChimp, and you can do your communications with Slack and RingCentral. So one of my best sources for finding out about all of these is a company called Software Advice. This is one of their contacts. I think if you dial the toll-free number, I don't know if you get directly to Lexi or if they just assign you to somebody, but it's absolutely free advice from real people. I talked to Lexi, but their website is phenomenal. You can put in 2 or 3 different CRM systems and compare them, just like you would compare 2 or 3 cars or 2 or 3 houses on some of the websites you go to. You can, and it gives you so much information, and it gives you comments from users. And that's where I got a lot of my information, was when I was looking at all the different CRM systems. You could scroll down and see what the positives and negatives were that the people that used it liked. So again, I highly recommend, if you're going to change or start with one, is spend 15, 20 minutes on this website. And if you need to, talk to somebody, tell them about your business, and they may have a suggestion as to. Hit the wrong button. Okay, next. So, final, what are your experiences with CRMs? It's kind of a big deal. You have my, my email address. You're more than welcome to reach out to me. And I'm going to close out the screen sharing so we can see everybody again. And now I want to hear from you guys. What do you like and what don't you like about the CRM systems you guys have used? Not all at once now. Don't everybody talk at once.
Well, I think the video that you showed with the, you know, the love-hate relationship with the CRM, and when you get more than, you know, one person as the, you know, sales team, having an ability to communicate and getting everyone on the same page is hard.
Bill, I'm sorry, I lost my sound again. So I'm going to try to turn my speakers up best I can. Okay. Carl, I'm going to ask you to kind of oversee this because I can't hear very well with the sound disappeared. I hear it very, very faint.
So I'll jump in and second Bill's thoughts. I mean, it's been really tough to, you know, I've had several times where, you know, you hire in new salespeople and then they immediately refuse to use the CRM, even though in interviews they were, oh yeah, I can adapt to that. And it's so, you know, my thing is, you get a salesperson like that, then they refuse, you've got to get rid of them. Because then they'll infect the rest of the salespeople if you have multiple ones. You know, you got to have that, because without that, you don't have the data. You can't make reasonable business decisions.
I got my sound back so I can hear everybody. Thank you, David.
So I'll also hop in so my major experience with CRMs, although I've experienced with several of them, is the 800-pound gorilla CRM, which is Salesforce. I would not recommend Salesforce to any startup because it's hugely complex. It's also a little pricey. The only thing I would recommend it for startup-wise, and I think I mentioned at the beginning, I tend to deal with startups who are IT-oriented, especially healthcare IT, is having them actually build their product on Salesforce as a platform. Salesforce has that capability. You can run, and I mean, you can run your whole company on it, but you can also basically set up, you know, outside user websites that outside users can use that then hook into, you know, manipulate in the back end, manipulate data in Salesforce directly. So that's the one caveat, and it's actually a really great one if you're a startup that's doing IT.
Yep, good. Budget always becomes a concern with Salesforce. Anyone else been using a CRM that they like or don't like?
I know people who have used HubSpot and had liked it. It really does a fairly good job of modeling the flow of information and how that all works. And apparently you start out, it's free. And so I've heard some good things about HubSpot, and I've known a couple companies that have used that one.
Yeah, and you don't have to use the paid version. The free version you can use forever. And again, if you just need all the good basics, there's nothing wrong with it. And it has good support. And there are a lot of HubSpot partners. For example, one of my clients in Kissimmee is called Reach. They're a inbound marketing company, and they're a HubSpot partner. And so you can have some local support, you know, from somebody that you can pick up the phone and ask some questions to. So yes, we're a big HubSpot supporter as well.
Just to play off of that, if I can, Jim, I've used different CRMs predominantly for one in publishing, a couple now in fundraising roles. But for my personal business, I'm just looking for something that, you know, I only will have a couple handfuls of products, it would appear, ever, and something that's just simple, that is, you know, I'm great with using it. That's fine. I totally get the value. I had like 7,000 donors one time I was responsible for, and really, really quickly I became a believer in using the CRM. Would you recommend HubSpot? One of the few things I would like to do is, and all the different modules that you said you could plug into it, is plug in probably some, I don't know, some social media if it's possible, but even just something simple like MailChimp or Constant Contact, just to, you know, to drive and see what open rates are and click-throughs and what, you know, just some very basic stuff. Is HubSpot one of those you would recommend to start out with?
Yes, I would look at HubSpot. I would look at Pipedrive. I've had so many people that have been very happy Pipedrive users. That was that video that I showed you, and they're on the list. When Elena sends you my presentation, you'll be able to go to them. But I'm going to reiterate, when you go to the website, Software Advice, you can go to specific industries. You can say, okay, I'm a dentist. And so they'll pop up and they'll tell you some of the more popular CRMs for dentists. And then again, speaking to one of their people doesn't cost anything, and they may be able to have some suggestions from their experience. I think they make their money on the back end. It must be that CRM systems somehow pay them a finder's fee or referral fee, because you don't pay anything for their advice.
Wow. Thank you very much. I don't, my sales often don't include an exotic sales process, or you know, I'm not maintaining a giant pipeline, you know, so I'm just looking for something that's kind of crisp and succinct. So thanks so much for that.
And Monday.com seemed to be a real good, simple, easy entry-level one as well.
I have 2 quick questions.
Sure.
I have a client who's a photographer, and he's a one-man show, but he's starting to get, he didn't even realize how many customers he had. What would be an inexpensive, and he hates doing all that extra little stuff, you know, what could you suggest for a photography person? He does a lot of weddings and family photos and stuff like that, and sometimes they do come back for other things. What would be an inexpensive, easy thing he would actually do?
Yeah, as you saw, several of them are good, and HubSpot's free, and it does integrate with, you know, probably their biggest challenge is touching base with customers they haven't talked to in 6 months. You know, as a reminder, say, hey, I'm still here. We can still do family portraits. We can do birthdays. We can do whatever. You know, I bet he doesn't have a system of touching his customers on any regularity.
Oh, absolutely not. He waits for them to call him, and we've had discussions about that. And then, like, go ahead.
I was going to say he needs to have an automated system that sends them a reminder email every 3 months, or a little blog, or a little, e-newsletter, constant contact, something to say, hey, we've got Easter coming up. It's time for some new Easter pictures of the kids or something.
Believe me, you're preaching to the choir. I keep telling him it will save him time. He thinks it's going to be more time. And yeah, he hasn't done anything automated. I'm trying to get him to automate his website. So if someone has a question, it shoots to him and all that. And then so I should ask, as far as myself, would you give that same, because I do specialized things, so I don't have that many customers, and I do reach out to them on a regular basis. Would you say HubSpot would also be good for me since it's free and something?
Yes. I would also look at, you don't need a CRM, because it's super simple, either for you and or for the photography. You don't need a CRM.com. I hear works very well. And Keith, we haven't mentioned Zoho. Zoho is a little more complicated to use, even though it's free up to 3 users. That's a little bit closer to a Salesforce type of serious business versus customer contact type stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
All right, any more questions? All right, well, Jim, thank you so much for the presentation. It was really informative, tons of resources, tons of recommendations. The software advice thing is great. I mean, I'm going to use that for all kinds of things. And we really appreciate you doing this presentation again. It's been great. And everybody, Landon's going to send out a little survey, send out the presentation with the survey to you, and let you know what's coming down the pike on future presentations. But again, thanks everybody. Jim, thanks again, and everyone have a great week.
Bob, Bob has something to add.
Oh, okay, yep. Bob.
Carl's they're gonna be mad at me because it's off topic. I didn't know if it was legal to ask since we're all entrepreneurs, but I was just curious if they buried your innovative toothbrush and just sort of did a defensive acquisition on that. I was just curious. Sorry, Carl.
No, that's all right.
Okay. All right, so that's a great question. And yes, I figure it was defensive. Let's see, you can still see the toothbrush, right?
Yeah.
It was great for kids because it got the inside of your teeth, same time it got the outside. It's also great for people with dexterity problems that were handicapped, so that they could bend it, to get into different areas. And it was selling like hotcakes in the Eckarts and all that. I took the company public on the NASDAQ. J&J bought out all our stock, and 2 years later, it was off the shelf. So Bob, people keep telling me, oh, the patent's over, you ought to go back into it. And because everybody loves that toothbrush, and I'm just too old. I'm not going to go through that again. But I think it was a totally defensive move. You're exactly right.
Okay.
Wow.
Hey,
just curious. Thank you for sharing.
Hey, Jim, is it possible to get one of those toothbrushes?
No, I only have 24 left that I've been hoarding. So I don't know where to go to find one, unless you can just Google it. And there were some knockoffs over the past 20 years. I've seen 2-headed toothbrushes, some of them rotary, some of them regular, and I don't know if they're still around. But
and it's called the Bowie brush.
Yeah, right. I wish I'd named it after me. It's called let's see if I can put it here. It's called the Action 2, ACTION, Action 2 toothbrush.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's see if I can show.
So that's why at Startup Quest, they had that thing about a children's toothbrush. That came from you, didn't it?
Right.
Now I get it.
Yeah, the joke. Yeah, here, let me sell you a toothbrush.
No,
here's a piece of chocolate. Oh, it's really not chocolate. Here, buy a toothbrush. That's an old joke.
All right, anybody else?
Good.
All right, well,
thanks again.
Thanks everybody. Have a great week, and we'll see you again soon.